And so now I would introduce to you and I ask you to welcome Daniel Davis.
And I really enjoyed the idea of growing jobs in the community through imports and exports. I understood that there would be litigation, and environmental groups were not as understanding and didn't have the same beliefs that I might have had with deepening the harbor. And I was trying to figure out different ways to solve the discrepancies between the two, to where we could not only protect the St. Johns River and have a balanced approach to growing more jobs and making sure we keep the thousands of jobs that affect our industry. During that process, I started learning more about the Rodman Dam and the issues that the environmental community had, and the discussions that they had regarding the Rodman Dam and the reservoir, and understood that that was a major issue for them. Started beginning talks with the riverkeeper in Jacksonville to understand what we could do to avoid litigation, if there was a way to move forward with deepening the harbor. During those talks, we did come to an agreement that they would not sue for the deepening of the harbor if we were able to pierce the Rodman Dam. And I have to tell you, I was very disappointed in myself for having that tunnel vision and losing the opportunity to communicate with this community. I had a communication plan that I should have communicated with the folks in Putnam County, but I did not execute the communication plan like I should. And I wanted to make sure that I came down here and told you that I apologize for that.
Red Walker, I'm a correspondent for Palatka News. I made numerous trips to Tallahassee with our past president, Ed Taylor. And aside from a few of the representatives and the people in their offices, most had never been to Rodman, had no idea what it looked like, nothing about it. The only thing they can judge by is what they read or what they've been told. A lot of people that's been in the newspapers over and over, it is just a little fishing hole for a few private bubbas. Well, anything could be further the truth than that.
It seems like what you've said tonight is it's basically a quid pro quo in getting that legislation passed. If you can get the funding for that dam removal, then the riverkeeper goes away. Yeah. She's out of your hair, the dredging can move forward, and the progress can be made at the port.
That's the process of the MOU. That's what the MOU.
Well, and that's just wrong.
I've grown up here fishing. What I do, most fishermen don't agree with. I'm an aquatic pesticide applicator. Through that, I've learned that the way Rodman sits now, with the hydrilla, bladderwort, naiad, that is essential to the ecosystem in that lake or reservoir, it filters the water flowing out of off the roads, off the highways, people's yards, farms, etc.
So my statement, that we'll all wrap it into one thing, is that we can tell these environmentalists, and I question the mentalist part of their identification, keep your cotton-picking hands off of our reservoir.
But if Rodman isn't considered mitigation, what would you term Rodman being?
I don't understand your question.
Why do this?
I don't understand what you're...
I think it's being held hostage. I can use a term extortion. It seems like even the memorandum of understanding, she says I can still file a lawsuit. This is a worthless piece of paper. And if Rodman has no business being in the mitigation by the Corps of Engineers, why are we here? Why are we here? To satisfy somebody?
And I want to tell you that there is, I believe, this is my opinion, there is one reason why those people who call themselves environmentalists want to destroy Rodman Reservoir. The reason is because it is man-made. That's the reason. I helped push the legislation that said dredge the mouth of the river for Jacksport. I voted for it. I still support it. Now to just abruptly learn a couple of weeks ago that Rodman Reservoir is the sacrifice for that, I believe is shameful. But thank you, sir, for coming tonight.
Amen.
Well, in my estimation, not a whole lot was accomplished tonight. I mean, there was a lot of emotion in the room. It was a civil meeting. That impressed me. Nobody got out of control. And I admired the speaker coming from Jacksonville to address the issues down here in Putnam County. The disappointment for me was there was no acknowledgement of other area counties like Marion and Alachua and Clay. All those counties have people that are reliant on that resource for income and for recreation. That was the part that really fell short for me, but I think it did start some things in the right direction. Hopefully the Riverkeeper is now under fire and knows it. What they're doing, this, in my opinion, is political and environmental extortion. It's using the reservoir as a bargaining chip to further their own cause. It really has no merit and shouldn't have any play on what's going on in Jacksonville at the port. It was well attended. It was a good meeting. I learned a lot. I'm a little bit late to the game as far as this whole issue of Save Rodman is concerned. I wrote a column in Bassmaster regarding what I picked up over the last few weeks, and I'm glad I did. It's been enlightening doing that research, and hopefully I brought awareness to the topic for a lot of people.
Hello, I'm Jeff Miller. We've got Miller's Boating Center in Ocala, and I just came to the meeting tonight to hear what was going on and what's happening. Been a proponent for Rodman for many years, grew up on it, fishing and all, and if somebody can convince me that there's good to come out of draining it, then I'll listen. But I haven't heard anything, and this meeting tonight even took me farther away from that point. It appears that Rodman Reservoir is nothing more than a bargaining chip in a political move to help dredge the upper St. Johns River. And seems to be a travesty that anybody even be interested in pulling the plug on such a great resource and environment in order to further somebody's political and or economic gain. So hopefully somebody will see the light and we can get this thing stopped. Thank you.
You know, this is a great meeting. I appreciate Daniel Davis for coming down here from Jacksonville, spending his time down here. I just really appreciate him spending the time down here. I wish that, he would have listened to the people of Putnam County and the surrounding communities to start off with, and I believe this would have got off on a lot better start. We need Rodman. This is a great lake that needs to be here. As a professional fisherman, I travel all over the country. People all over this country knows Rodman Reservoir. I mean, it's a lake well known no matter where I go, and it's just a staple in bass fishing. It's a place that needs to stay here, and I believe he's seen that tonight, and it's been a deal that just been a conversation going on for a decade now, and it just needs to stay here. It don't need to go anywhere, and I believe it will. I believe that it's a lot of people is passionate about it, and they don't want to see it go nowhere, and I think it's here to stay. So hopefully it will be.